Yeah, it's recording.
It scares me. Mine doesn't flash. It scares me. I don't know.
Well, this thing is like 12 years old.
It's actually going to self-destruct in like 10 seconds.
Hello, everyone. We watched the newest, latest Mission Impossible movie, Dead Reckoning Part 1, directed by the man, Christopher McQuarrie, who's decided to save Mission Impossible.
Yeah. And Tom Cruise who's decided to save movies. Can I say my favorite part of the movie is at the end, right as the credits end?
We haven't even explained
it just
the movie
says,
yet.
It just says, end of part 1.
Yeah. As if we didn't know.
We're like, gosh, what?
Yeah.
It's over and done with.
But this is the fourth cliffhanger of the year, if
Yeah.
you include Ant-Man.
Still haven't seen it.
There might be more, but
Yep.
this is the fourth one, and it stars a lot of people, so let me go through the list. Tom Cruise, Haley Atwell, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby, Simon Morales, Henry Czerny, Palm Clementieff, Carrie Ellis, Shea Wiggum, and Greg Tarzan Davis. And there's more people. Rob Delaney,
Yep.
a couple other people. Nick Offerman, not in this one. Not a spoiler alert, he's not in this one. So
Wait, is he in any of them?
he's supposed to be in one of them.
Right. That's right.
So he's not in this one. I was
Yeah.
waiting the whole time. I was like, where is this man? But anyways, you've heard already, this is about AI, but it's also not about AI. In a way, it's mostly just about Ethan Hunt deciding that he wants to save the world from the bad guys again.
Yeah.
But this time,
It's personal.
it's personal. But it's personal in a way that, because Isai Morales plays Gabriel, a guy from Ethan Hunt's past
Yeah.
before he joined the IMF. Very quick, like 30-second
It does not
montage.
explain.
Okay,
Who
okay.
he
I
is.
almost asked you in the movie. I was like, did I miss something? I was like, I've seen every movie. Like, did I miss this scene at some
No.
point in this? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like if MCU decided to just Thanos to show up in Infinity War, and you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, guess he's
Nah,
the
these
bad
boys.
guy.
Okay.
I'm sure they'll go into it in part 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's about the entity, which is an AI algorithm thing that has decided it wants to basically doesn't want to control the world. It just wants to make sure that no one kills it.
Yeah.
And that's how I'd expect the AI to work
Yeah,
in real
and
life.
it's okay with being controlled,
Yes.
just not dead. They don't
Yeah,
want to kill it.
yeah.
But you know who wants to kill it?
Ethan Hunt.
When they started shooting this, obviously, like during the bulk of the pandemic, because I know like the previews were showing them in masks and everything. I mean, they got, I don't know if lucky is the right word, but right as this release is like as all of this huge peak of AI stuff, like
Right. It's definitely AI panic, because part of it is like, oh, this is going to ruin everything. And that's the wave of how everything's working with ChatGPT and everything. It's like, even if that does happen, we are like 50 years from that.
Yeah.
So they take some logical leaps in the movie, but it is obviously you play up and they get lucky and everyone's talking about
especially
it. So.
as writers and actors strikes. And do you think that Tom Cruise got really tired of seeing the AI deep fakes of him and was like, that's the bad guy that makes Mission Impossible?
Yeah,
Because it's in there, it's all in
maybe they'll hire that one guy that does it
they
all.
got on TikTok and looks just like him.
So yeah, anyways, we're
Yeah.
all over the place.
Uh,
What do we think about the movie in general?
I mean, you're a new Mission Impossible fan.
I did. I binge watched all of them on y'all's recommendation, which to me makes it a little bit easier because to me I'm like I don't have these years long gap in between them, so it's a lot easier to like remember and keep up with everything. I liked it a lot. I think Fallout to me is still the best of the franchise, but I think this one was still. It was really fun. It was a good story in my opinion as well. I liked all the sets and where they did everything. I personally had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was solid.
I mean, I've talked about. I love this franchise so much, and I'm like all on board. All on board a train that's just probably going to crash into a ravine somewhere. But I loved it. There are things in this movie that happen, and and I won't get into them, but you understand why they happen. Some of it's kind of a bummer, but it is. You understand why they're doing it and why they need to do it. And then as the movie goes along, at first there were times where I was like, I don't know if I'm like 100% on board, but then by the end when you see what they're doing, what they're kind of setting up for a certain character, it all makes sense. And also, I mean, like after seeing things like Fast X and things like even if it's a good movie, an incredible movie, Across the Spider-Verse, or things that like this in the Flash, all this stuff, all these movies that have happened this summer, and this being kind of like you're seeing similar things and it just doing them better. is also just a lot of fun. You know, it's. I'm glad it came out last. Well, I don't know. Maybe Oppenheimer's
gonna end on a cliffhanger too. I don't know. Maybe
it's maybe Barbie's just they're gonna have a set piece on a train. You know, like
they might. You never know.
But not really. Like I think it. I mean, Macquarie and Cruise are, I think, unstoppable now. So it's.
Yeah. So I liked it, but I like how it parallels the first movie in that it goes for more espionage.
Yeah.
So like the first hour is mostly about espionage and like pickpocketing and setting up Haley Atwell's character, Grace. So I like all that, and obviously the train.
Yeah.
They go for a very old train, where in the first one it's like a new train, like a bullet kind of train. So I'd like that parallel. The AI. This is a minor spoiler, but Gabriel sleeps in an AI mask.
Yeah.
And I guess
it's not explained.
It's not explained. I guess he's hypnotized by it or whatever. But I like it just because it's just like, they're like, we got to explain why he's so just like a fanatic about this. And like, AI mask.
Well, also he's like got a watch that's telling him the exact thing. Like, how does he know to like do this one thing at this exact time? Like, it never explains it, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like how they introduced these two agents, Shea Wiggum and Greg Davis, just being totally behind everybody, just to prove how great Ethan is at the job, which you don't get a lot of. We've seen Ethan be good at his job for so long that we haven't seen agents other than Henry Cavill. We haven't seen agents actually try to catch up to him.
Well, it's nice too that it's like, and we had like, Fishburne and Crudup, who were part of IMF trying to catch him. But this is the biggest Mission Impossible movie, in that you were following like 4 different storylines. You're following Gabriel, you're following the White Widow, you're following Cruise and the team, but also then Cruise goes away from the team for a second, so then you're following some of the team, and you're following these 2 guys who were just like, please slow down. and then you've got like Kittredge, who's back, and I'm so glad he's back in it like more. Kittredge, obviously last time we saw him, he was getting all
he got gummed up.
Oh, there you go. Asa lasagna, don't get it on you, But it's just fun to see him. It is very it's kind of like a nice. It's clear what they want to lead up to. This kind of like, let's tie to the first. Let's wrap things up. Let's build ourselves some runway if we want to keep it going. Because it does. You start talking about this thing called the choice. Like you start to learn a lot of little things that you've never heard before, and so I love these movies so much.
Yeah. It rocked. I don't have some big great insight. It rocked. Like,
there are some editing choices here that are very iffy. So there's a scene where Gabriel's fighting Ilsa and Grace.
Yeah.
And it just cuts no sound. Like when when it cuts to the drone shots, they're fighting. You hear like all the knives and stuff, and then it just cuts to silence with just the music.
The above the bridge.
Yeah. And so it's just like these very weird choices to be silent when it didn't need to be silent. Obviously, him jumping off the thing. I know they want to make it look breathtaking or whatever. It's like, but the music coming in did not. It
scared me.
Yeah.
When he's off the cliff, when it faced me, I'm like, oh, this is intense, this is awesome. And as soon as all the wind comes rushing back, the music and everything, I jumped. I had a handful of M&Ms, and I just scared me.
And I know they're trying to edit it like a horror movie, but we don't need jump scares in Mission Impossible.
Yeah, and the music is very loud. It is very, I know we kind of talked about this with Indiana Jones too. It's like, all of a sudden it's just like, bum, 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 bum. And it's just that like kind of beat, and then it just goes back into the score. And it does that like 100 times.
Yeah.
Anytime there's just like car wreck, boom, boom, and so that's a little jumpy. The editing, there's a conversation early on between Kittredge and Cruise, and you're like, who's looking at who? And it's very confusing.
The way the cameras are set up for some of those,
But there are some really cool setups. It's not, I don't think, the best like stunt wise. I know, and maybe it's because we've just been so hyped. We've all seen like the video of him jumping off the mountain 100 times.
I think they wanted to make sure he didn't tear anything again. So
it's more that we've been spoiled to it. It's like, hey, look, he's gonna. Hey, preview, jump. Hey, we're gonna show you how he did it a million times on the internet. The spectacle isn't there, but the story is.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. I love the lore that we're building. I think we have this complaint about all of them though. Just give me more Luther.
We always need more Luther.
True.
I said this in my Letterboxd review already, but I love that his character is just distilled down to let him cook.
Yeah.
And he does every time.
Let him do his thing.
And he does it. He's just like, I got to do something. I'll be right back. And then he comes back and he's like, I did it.
He's like, I did it better than you thought I could do it.
Honestly, Ving Rhames in these movies, goals, because it's just like, hey, Ving, you're going to sit down and you're going to wear a hat. You're going to look cool.
Yep.
You're going to talk on the computer. And here's a couple mil. You know?
He did have that airport. He had a cool hat in that airport scene.
He's so cool. And it is just legit. I could watch almost 3 hours of just Cruise, Peg, and Luther on comms.
Yeah.
And it just, and be like, yep, that movie was 10 out of 10. I guess we should briefly talk about Haley Atwell. Incredible.
Really
I just need her to be a movie star because it just seems like she...
I hate to break it to you, but she's a movie star.
I know she's a movie star, but, you know, like, why is she not in more, you know? Like,
Sure.
She's awesome. And, The Thief. I love the Sleight of Hand coming back. What'd you think about Palm? You know, is her name Paris?
Paris, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I thought it was great. Obviously, it's like, here's the Joker, baby, again, kind of thing. Which
I'm the Joker.
Which I'm over. I'm over her, the way she just acts in it. She doesn't say anything till the very end.
Yeah. No.
And I think that it makes that moment even better. So I think in terms of that, script-wise, is really good. And obviously her fight scenes are really good.
I was going to say, I mean, I guess minor spoilers this as well, but the alley scene where her and Ethan and one of the other people
just
that's with him, just running. I didn't think it was. I can't remember the White Widow's body. I can't remember his name. It wasn't him, but there's other random guy that when they're fighting in the alley, just like how that was choreographed in such a tight space. I'm like, this rocks. She rocks in this. Like this is sick. Like this is well done.
And it's really clear. Minor brief spoilers, but it's very clear that they didn't realize what they had until later, and you get like a nice little ADR scene at the end, which like she's still got a pulse because it's clear that they're like okay, yeah, well obviously she's very James Bond villain type, and let's kill her off, and then they're just like, oh no, she's too cool.
Yeah,
and then
she rocks.
You do just have a character be like, there's still a pulse, and I just laughed. I was like, oh good. I was like, oh. She's coming back. Okay.
Yeah, very Fast and Furious of them.
Yeah.
How many Ethans out of 10 would you give this?
9 out of 10. Ethans! You know, the hair wasn't hairing, but, you know, it is nice that Tom took a backseat to not be the best looking, not even the best looking dude in this movie either. You know, he's not the best looking person. He knows he's a 60-year-old.
Yeah, of course, Luther's number one. Obviously.
Luther does look good. Just a fun time. See it on the biggest screen possible.
True.
And Tom Cruise didn't save the movies for you to watch this at home, you know, when it's in theaters.
Seeing it IMAX rocked.
Yeah,
it was fun.
It was cool.
It was fun IMAX. I also give it 9 Ethans for sure. So it was not as good as yours. I apologize.
Cool.
But,
I give it 8 Ethans.
Oh.
Hey, Ethan.
Not as high of a score with Choir Yell.
Ethan, I killed your best friends and girlfriends.
Did you? It's. I want the second one to get more into that. I would love like a real Kill Bill Volume 2 film from Dead Reckoning Part 2, where it's just like very little action, just full on spies.
That would be
just
cool.
Full on talking, and then at the end you can have a big battle.
I think the way they leave this is much better, obviously, than the other cliffhangers we got.
Yes.
But I don't know how they're gonna get to the thing they need to get to.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the?
I'm not gonna spoil it, but they need to get to this thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna do it.
That was my also thought was I was like, we found pieces of this when at the beginning when everything happened. We found a part of this, but like. It's not as if we knew that specific piece. So, like, I think the only person who knows that is supposed to be Gabriel and Paris, I think, are the only two people who are supposed to know it.
Yeah,
so.
I just don't know why you tell Paris, honestly.
Yeah, also true.
Un esercito di